Welcome back. Number 27, to my body. Dear body, sometimes I hate you. You ache. You get tired sooner than I'd like to admit. You wake me up in the night for no good reason. Your cells duplicate at unpredictable rates. New gray hairs and fine lines and silver stretch marks show up out of nowhere. You let me down just when I need you the most. Sometimes I look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back at me. I look exhausted, worn, aged. Sometimes I want a break from living with you. I prefer to trade you in for a newer model, a model that isn't in constant pain, that fits better in a pair of jeans, and that has more energy. With you, I am limited, bound by skin and bone and thinning hair. With you, I am fragile. It wasn't always this way. I remember when you had invisible springs. You didn't need coaxing, tending, and fixing. You had endless courage and resilience. You could stay up all night with a friend or chase little ones around in the yard. You seemed invincible, your memory infallible. Yet here we are, this flesh and bone, these cages, these places of freedom and constraint. I want my body to be perfect, but instead I'm reminded of what I can't master, what I cannot perfect. But God knows what it's like to live in flesh. God went to great, even incarnational lengths to be born as a tiny infant. If God too lived in a body, then God knows the aches of growing pains and feeling of goosebumps on a brisk day and the comfort of a warm embrace. He felt the gurgle of a hungry stomach and the annoying prick of a splinter after a day of hard work. He wept over the death of a friend. Ours is a God who sneezed and rubbed his eyes when he was sleepy. Ours is a God who knew longing, heartbreak, excitement, frustration, the full range of what it means to be human, a God who knows what it means to live in a body. So when my own body drags me down, when my muscles ache, when my worries keep me up at night, when my fear for the future leaves me motionless, when I feel lonely and exhausted and burdened, I do not worship a God who is far off. This is a God who knows my humanity inside and out. God has counted every hair on my head and bottled up every tear I have shed, not simply because the Word formed us, knit us together in our mother's wombs. It was there from the very beginning, but because God wore our skin. Dear, dear body, I get it, or at least I'm starting to. You do not have an unlimited supply. You run out, and I need to listen. Maybe I really should go to bed a little earlier and let you off the hook for craving those extra salty chips. I need to sense when you are struggling and gently acknowledge that you are actually changing, that time and love and grief and life have worn themselves into my skin day by day. This is the beautiful, terrible evidence that we have lived. So let's give up the myth of perfection, shall we? Perfection in what we eat, perfection in what we assume bodies should look like or even feel like, perfection in imagining we'd be over this weird body stuff by now. So I want to say I'm sorry. You couldn't help aging, changing, being human. I love you. I will try to be gentle and patient with your ways. So, dear body, let us quiet ourselves and look to God, who made us in all imperfections and all our total dependence. Through God, in God, we live and move and find our being. Let us be more awake, more alive, more drawn together, body and soul, into that single purpose, to love and be loved by a God who calls us God's own. And let us remember that this fragile body is good enough. Love always. Me. And now a blessing for the body. Blessed is the body that offers soft hugs on hard days, whose curves fit our pets and our kids and our partners, whose hand hold another alongside hospitals' beds and in nursing homes and at the altar and on the first day of school, whose breast nurse and legs run to chase little ones and whose toes balance us on the earth, whose wrinkles tell stories of laughs and tears and worries. Blessed are those imperfect, fragile bodies, this flesh and bones, the cells that sometimes duplicate for no reason whatsoever, this skin that is stitched together with scars and stretch marks and fine lines. Blessed is the body because it is a home, not just for us, but for those who love us. And sometimes you just need to stand in front of the mirror and take off all your clothes and remember that this body, your body, is God's home address.